This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Sony. Go to revision3.com/Sony for an inside look at the latest Sony gear and games.
Coming up on Destructoid, dreams can come true. For Inception-loving video game fans, Scribblenauts developer has some 3DS dreams of his own. Sega gets its Terminator on with Binary Domain. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 still has a few tricks up its sleeve, while the console wars continue with the same old song and dance. All this and more coming up on Destructoid.
Wow, that was quite the introduction. You seem so confident and fresh today. What's your secret?
Tara, it's no secret. It only takes one look at me to see why I'm feeling so good today. I've got my jean skins on.
Jean skins? Those look fantastic. Tell me more.
Well, I'll tell you. These new jean skins from Sankyu give you an amazing level of support to your buns and inner thighs, all while creating the illusion that you're just wearing a pair of stylish stonewashed jeans.
You mean those aren't really jeans?
Exactly. We'll talk more about my pants later. But hey, let's get back to the video game journalism. Inception's getting its own video game! Remember Inception? That really clever movie about the mildly interesting people going to each other's sort of boring dreams and doing stuff? Well, according to the movie's director, we're going to get to do all that again, but this time in game form! You know, I hate to sound negative. Personally, I think that Inception actually could make a pretty good video game, as long as they max out on the stuff that makes dreams really interesting and cut out on all the long-winded chats and the James Bond type stuff, because to me, my dreams are a lot hotter than that. I mean, come on, if you're making a game about dreams, you gotta go to the talking hamburgers with the guitar situation, and you gotta go to the James Woods making out with a, do you know what I'm talking about?
I love James Woods.
Yeah, have you seen him make out with a TV? That's what my dreams are all about. And that's what I want in the Inception
pretty
game.
Racy.
So just do it.
Interested to see how that one turns out.
Could be good.
Could be.
Could be real hot.
Could be awful. There's no way of
You're
knowing.
so honest. I love it about you. You don't pull any punches. Okay, next
a
story.
bitch.
Speaking of things that I really like and making my dreams come true, we've got an exclusive BitTrip piece of info for you. Did you check out the live stream when I was playing?
I
BitTrip?
did.
Yeah. We played BitTrip Runner and we played BitTrip Fate earlier on the live stream this week on Justin TV. Check us out on our Justin TV channel. And while we were playing the games, Chris Osborne, the programming czar of the Gaijin Games, the company that made BitTrip series, came in and started giving us all this hot info out of nowhere. He told us that they're done with the new BitTrip game. That was an announcement nobody knew. BitTrip 6, otherwise known as BitTrip Flux, is done. He's also working on getting Steam and 3DS programming out the door, so they're trying to make more games for those two platforms, so they haven't told us exactly what those games will be. And finally, they told us that now that they're done with BitTrip Flux, they're working on BitTrip Runner again. And we don't know what that means, but for a BitTrip runner fun freak, that's so exciting to me. That there's going to be new BitTrip Runner in some way. Maybe a sequel, maybe a remake, nobody knows.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm incredibly impressed with those dudes. Okay, I've talked enough, I'm sorry. It's your story,
Switching
Tara.
gears a little bit, Jeremiah Slokcha, creative director of Fifth Cell, the developer who brought you such titles as Scribblenauts and Pat Sajak's Lucky Letters. It was hard to find a video of that on YouTube.
I bet it was.
Surprisingly, is rooting for Nintendo in the war of the consoles. When asked if the Kinect or Move were inspiring to him, he responded by saying, quote, "The 3DS is cooler in our opinion." The company is currently working on the new shooter Hybrid to be released on XBLA after having turned down urgings from Microsoft to make it a Kinect game instead. Slokcha then went on to essentially kick Sony in the balls by saying the Move is just another version of the Wii Plus. Ouch.
Ow.
Needless to say, some feelings might have been hurt over at Sony, but personally, I could not agree more. I haven't gotten to play around with the 3DS yet because I wasn't at E3, which makes me sad. But just the idea of that is more exciting to me than the actual existence of the Kinect or the Move console.
And we've got those in the house.
Yeah, we do.
You've
And
barely
yet,
touched them. Yeah, you're gonna love the 3DS though. You're absolutely right. To me, it's weird anytime a guy says such is cooler than other such when it comes to video games, because I come from a time when we were all equally uncool. You know, you played Atari, or then you upgraded to Nintendo or Sega. We were all a bunch of geeks. So now that video games actually can be cool, it makes me miss the underdog days of unified nerddom when we're all together on it.
Different times now.
That's
But
true.
hey, more exposure is always good, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe not, though.
Well,
We
time
could
will
probably
tell.
have a lengthy discussion about this, but let's not.
Indeed. You got some more console war news, don't you?
Yes, I have some news on Kinect. Yeah.
Favorite.
There's been a lot of talk lately about how well Kinect has been doing since it was released almost a month ago. And we have the updated numbers in showing total sales of 2.5 million units in the past 25 days. That's 100,000 Kinects per day.
Whoa.
Yikes. Microsoft heartthrob Don Matrix was quoted as saying, with sales already exceeding 2.5 million units in just 25 days, we are on pace to reach our forecast of 5 million units sold to consumers this holiday. I can actually see this turning out pretty well for them, considering 90% of Americans wait until December 23rd to do all their Christmas shopping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If Kinect's not sold out. But I want to know if the Kinect games are actually selling. Sure, Kinect sold. But did anyone actually buy any games for it, or did they just set it up and look at it?
I'm sure people will buy them in anticipation of the holidays, you know?
We'll see.
Christmas gifts, gotta give them out. Gotta get that money.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, almost immediately after Microsoft released those numbers, Sony stepped out of the shadows to let us know that they've sold 4.1 million units of the Move in the past 2.5 months. Except by sold, they mean shipped. And by shipped, they mean to retailers, not customers. Nice try, Sony. Not falling for that one.
They got you.
They don't want to release their numbers. People have asked them, and they're like, nope, sorry, not going to do it.
I know. It's not like, I'm sure the numbers are fine. People are so insecure in this industry.
You think?
Just let it all hang out.
How many Move consoles do you think are sitting at GameStop right now on the shelf collecting dust? Come on, be honest, Holmes.
Be confident and fresh about it. That's what I'm saying. And, okay, I'm moving on. Hey, Billy, you like action movies? Then you're going to love Binary Domain. Sega just announced this new game for us. It's called Binary Domain, and it looks a lot like Gears of War meets Terminator. You can watch the full reveal trailer over at Destructoid.com, but in the meantime, I'll give you the short version. Generic Caucasian male says, "Grr, I'm special." Then attractive Asianish lady with slightly pseudo clothing on, but it's really just a wetsuit, says, "I'm sassy, do me." And then a giant African American sidekick says, "I'm black." And then robots say, "Hey, let's get shot." And then a sleeping plastic baby says, "Hey, what's up?" And then a robot legs lady says, "Pants are for the weak." And then an ominous foghorn goes, "Wah."
That sounds like the internet. Everyone on the internet.
Yeah, I just turned into the internet. That's what that trailer did for me. It actually, maybe I sound a little bit facetious and negative, but it actually could be a good game. Japanese developers have a history of taking action movie tropes and turning it into a quality game. Back in Contra. You ever play Contra on the old Nintendo? Awesome. They took Schwarzenegger and they took Stallone, put them in a game together, and it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever played.
Really?
I still play it.
Even for somebody who doesn't like first-person shooters?
Oh, it's not? Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, but it's all action, right?
Yeah, it's all action. They nailed it. And if they pull a Contra on this binary thing, I'm all over it.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, but Terminator meets, what was the other one you said?
Gears of War.
Gears of War? I'm out.
I figured you'd say that. That's cool, that's cool. We'll see, wait and see.
We've got some fun news here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you'll see what makes it fun in a second. So in the UK, there's this chain of game stores called Game. It's like the UK counterpart of GameStop, I guess.
Right.
Original, right?
Sure.
Well, 3 game locations are going to do something absolutely amazing this Friday. At these 3 stores, the first 20 customers to come in and buy Donkey Kong Country Returns will be able to leave their money at home, and instead, they'll have the option to buy the game with bananas.
What?
Used bananas, no less. Personally, I have a rule against eating used fruit, but I'm not above using it as currency. Power to you. Power to you, Game.
What did you just say?
That's actually a brilliant marketing move.
It's banana money?
Banana
currency?
Bananas.
Just come in with your fruit?
Get that banana. get those bananas.
Okay, we gotta move on. I'm having too much fun. Okay, and in today's anti-news story, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is still keeping some secrets from us, as if we didn't know that already.
Flighty temptress.
But if you've been keeping count at home, you know that there's been about, I think, exactly 30 characters announced for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, including Capcom fighting mainstays like Ryu and Morrigan, who we all expect to see, plus new characters like MODOK and Rad Spencer, the Bionic Commando, and Deadpool, everyone's favorite smart-talking assassin, and Amaterasu from Okami. Anyway, I thought that was going to be close to all of them, but it turns out there's 10 more characters that's going to be announced. Ryota Nitsuma, a man who I've met several times, and I absolutely think he's fantastic, just announced in Famitsu magazine in Japan that there's 10 more characters to go. I know that Frank West will be one of them, because it's just such a done deal. And I'm hoping that Mike Hagar, that rumor from, do you remember that? A few weeks ago when Carnage hosted, actually, the man behind the camera over there. He talked about Mike Hagar. I was so jealous of him that day, because I'm a huge Mike Hagar fan. So I'm hoping Mike Hagar makes it to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that still leaves 8 unknowns. Known
That's a lot of
unknowns.
characters.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
love
lot.
it. It's gonna be 40 total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Do you like Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
I'm not so familiar with it, but you know what? I'm excited for its release.
You're gonna hate that shit.
Really?
Ah, I shouldn't have sworn. Sorry. Okay, next story.
This isn't
I just love-
Techzilla.
Oh,
just
nice.
kidding.
Bam.
Love you, Veronica
Nailed it.
Belmont.
Oh, you love him.
Okay, well, actually, that's all for today's news. So
Oh, okay.
we're right there.
We did it.
We did it.
I think so.
But before you go, you may have noticed that today's episode was missing an ad.
I did notice that.
You did not notice that,
Somewhat
you
saddened.
liar.
I did my ad for jean skins.
Yeah, well, that's because Sony is currently working your ad for. Those are going to sell so hot this season. It's holiday season. So Sony is currently working with our resident pals Anthony Carboni and Melody Octari to bring you an in-depth look at some of Sony's latest gear, game, and movies. They're going to be interviewing the experts, unboxing the latest gadgets, and putting new Sony electronics to the test. And you may just see something you've never seen before in the process. We don't know. Teasers. Plus, there are a few chances to snag some free stuff or good deals along the way. If you like what you see and want to check out more, be sure to visit revision3.com/Sony. Until then, good night.
Hey guys, Anthony Carboni here for Sony, and instead of running some lame commercial at the end of one of your favorite shows, Sony has sent me here to San Diego, California, to the offices of Wildstorm to talk to Jim Lee, co-publisher of DC Comics, about the upcoming Sony online entertainment game, DC Universe Online. How did it feel to kind of have Sony come up to you and be like, okay, the way you do it?
To the extent that they are using the designs for the DCUO, I mean, it was, very, very flattering, and at the same time, a huge, huge task, because a lot of these characters I hadn't ever drawn before, and so you're constantly having to go over scores of DC characters and trying to figure out, well, what makes this character look the best.
Yeah. Why an MMO as opposed to a game where you get to be these characters?
For me, I've always loved MMOs. I personally like creating my own character, my own take on a hero. It's the creative side of me saying, like, I can do better, than what these guys have done. Batman, who's he? And then interacting with all these other great characters in this environment and this world that so many people around the world are familiar with. We really wanted to give you a reason why you exist in the DC universe in the first place, and then also make the sort of grander storyline a mystery and something that drives you forward in the gameplay.
That's just some of what Jim and I talked about. To find out more about DC Universe Online and see the rest of the interview, head to revision3.com/Sony.